right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Progressive Podcast. It is season 12, episode 105, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the impact of pressure on your mental health. If you listen to this, if you're watching this, please make sure you take some notes. Allow me to take a sip of my tea. I don't know what's going on. Like August really, it's really been shaking it up, I don't know whether it's the wind or the breeze, but my throat's really acting up right now. But your boy got a haircut. Your boy got a haircut. Yes, sir. We are shooting a film this week. Shooting a short film to be specific. This week for the next 10 days. So yeah, don't worry. I think there'll be an episode where I'll be away, but don't worry. I'll make sure that on that Monday, because I'm shooting from the 16th to the 26th, which is 10 days. So I think there's like a Monday in between there. Yeah, I'll make sure that you guys get your content as usual, as promised, and for some, I guess, as requested. But yeah, I'm doing good. My week was crazy. Let me tell you what happened during my week. So what happened in my week was that Monday was chilled. And then Tuesday, I had a speaking engagement at a public speaking event. It was nice. I really enjoyed, just helping people just be better at speaking in public. Because speaking in public and public speaking are two different things. Think about it. Two different things. Speaking in public and what? Public speaking. Two different things, man. And it was very nice. It was at Apex Studios. I went to Dumi and Artile. It was good vibes, man. It's intimate though. It was a bit of an intimate crowd, but it was good vibes. I must be honest. So there was that. Then on the Wednesday morning, I had to travel to Swaziland. Then Wednesday evening, I was shooting some work. Then Thursday, into the AMs, I was editing and stuff, right? And then slept in. Thursday was a lot of admin. And Thursday evening, shot some more work. Then Friday morning, I woke up early to come back to South Africa. And then after that, I had a rehearsal scheduled, but it didn't happen. So I went to the gym literally within 45 minutes of me being there. And then, Saturday morning, I went to go do my hair. And then went to church, spent a good time at church. And I just existed. And we had a test shoot yesterday for our film. So yeah, it's just been very busy for me. And it's been a lot of talking, Yeah, it's been a lot of talking, and I think my voice is reacting to that. So I'm just going to ask you guys to bear with me on that. But cool. So here is our icebreaker for today. Our icebreaker is, which type of tea are you taking? Are you taking Rooibos or Five Roses? Let me know. What is your go-to? Five Roses or Rooibos? I think for me, I know it's Rooibos. Anytime, it's Rooibos any day. It's just better. It's just better in my opinion. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and let's have a discourse about that. Cool. So before we get into the episode today, I've got some 5 interesting statistics about the impact mental health has, right? And these statistics are very, what can I say? They're very interesting and they're quite alarming, and these are specific to Africa, right? Maybe sub-Saharan but Africa. Cool. So the first stat is on youth mental health. All right. In sub-Saharan Africa, up to 40% of young people aged between the ages of 15 to 24 experience significant mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, often due to pressures related to unemployment, education, and socio-economic instability. 40%. It's crazy. And then stat number 2 is workplace stress, all right? So a study conducted in South Africa found that 30% of employees reported high levels of stress, with workplace pressure being a leading contributor to anxiety and burnout. Interesting. And then the third one is on depression rates in Africa, right? So in Africa, it is estimated about 66 million people suffer from depression, with a significant proportion of these cases linked to chronic stress, social pressure, and economic hardships. Crazy business. All right. Fourth one is mental health care access. So approximately 75% of people with mental health conditions in low-income African countries do not receive any treatment due to stigma, lack of resources, and the overwhelming pressure to prioritize other survival needs. And this is evident in our streaming statistics as well. Out of the 48 countries now. We're now streaming in 48 countries. I think we recently started streaming in Israel. And out of the 48 countries, we're streaming in 4 or 5 African countries, simply because it's survival, right? And then the last one is on the suicide rates, right? Africa has some of the highest suicide rates in the world, with an estimated 11.2 suicides per 100,000 people annually. Much of this is driven by untreated mental health issues, often exacerbated by social and economic pressures. Whew, that was a lot. That was a lot to read. That was a lot to process. If you are not dealing with any of these, consider yourself blessed. Consider yourself lucky and fortunate to not have to deal with this burden on a day-to-day. But I guess in some way, form, shape, or the other, right, we are all going through something, right? Whether, and here's the thing, right? I don't ever want for it to be a thing where we're always looking at one side of the coin. It's something I want to be more intentional about with the podcast as well, is that there's always two sides to the coin, right? So the problems the lower class is facing are the problems the lower class is facing. The problems the middle class is facing, yeah, there may be better problems, right? Like maybe the problem is, geez, white bread or brown bread today? Where in the lower class, it's like bread or no bread, right? And then upper class is literally like what I'm thinking of a name of a type of bread. Is it rye bread? Is it seed bread? Bread from Checkers, like that's really bringing it down, right? That's the simplified version. But they're all problems at different levels, right? And at the end of the day, it still affects your mental health. Whether you worried about public transport, sleeping in a Toyota Corolla, or sleeping in a Ferrari or Lamborghini or a Mazda, Kia, whatever you guys roll in, or even if it's sleeping next to your bicycle, man, or whatever the case may be, the point I'm trying to make here is that everyone has problems. Even if you may say that, is that really a problem? For that person, it's a problem. I saw a video the other day and it was saying something about more money, more problems, right? And it was practically dealing with the challenges, once you start getting rich, especially within the black community, that thing called black tax. I guess every culture has this form, has a specific form for it, right? But wow, I'm gonna have to push today. But it's just this one thing. And when it talks in these statistics, when I was talking about these socio-economic pressures, at the end of the day, people are just trying to survive, and African economies are very pressed. Pressed to the point that it's even questionable how certain companies roll out certain features from a tech perspective, right? As you know, I'm a tech junkie, and if it's the first time, I love technology. And I remember setting up the WhatsApp for the progressive athlete, right? And South Africa, right? I think it's top 2 or 3, if not the biggest user of WhatsApp in the world. I'd have to check. If you know the correct stat, let me know in the comments. But it dawned to me, I was like, oh, if South Africa is such a huge consumer of WhatsApp, then why aren't we getting all the nice features here? There's a lot of people here. There's about a good 55, 57 million people here. You know, and WhatsApp is the thing. But it made me question. And then you look at things like the TikTok creator program. Why isn't that thing in South Africa? Or at least Nigeria? You know, those are like 2 big economies, right? Globally speaking, I could be wrong, but let me know. Let me know in the comments. That's why we're here, right? You learn from me, I learn from you type of thing. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that the pressure that you go through on a day-to-day basis will have a impact on your mental health. And I'll start by sharing a story quickly about what it looked like for me from a creative standpoint, right? So grade 10, when I started drama, like when I took it as a subject, dramatic arts, it was okay. It was vibes. It was good. You know, I was doing well. You know, man, you could get away with just being talented at that point of the game, right? But my days, man, come grade 11, I don't know what it was, but there was a jump, right? And for me, drama was my best subject. And at that time, we were no more doing PE, physical education. So that fell away, right? So now, here I am, doing a performance I was working hard on to get a 60-something%. And I was like, there's no ways. There is no ways that this is me. I think the highest mark I saw that year was like a good 70-75%, which is not bad. But considering the previous year, I was clocking 80s and 90s. That hit me a bit too hard. And that whole year, there was a pressure from my parents because I wanted to now make mentor or prefect. I wanted to be a prefect. I wanted to be a leader. I was playing first team, hockey, soccer, you know, and there were all these things going for me. But everyone was like, but bro, remember why you're here. Academics, right? And that was the biggest fight I had with my parents, like back and forth, like, dude, cool, nice, you're doing these things, but homework, like, bro, like, are you passing? Let's start there. Academically, I wasn't doing great. And there's 2 ways to pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, and sometimes you can crumble under the pressure, you know? If you sit on a balloon long enough, it'll pop because of the pressure of you sitting down. And for me, it was both. Both in the sense that come grade 12, I did very well. Practically speaking, theory wasn't necessarily my strongest point, but practically speaking, I did very well, right? I was in form. I was back on track. But as far as everything else was concerned, I was so fixated on making sure my drama was good, and I was just passing everything else, right? And that kind of made me feel some type of way about my relationship with just my academics, right? And it got to a point where I got comfortable with just average marks. Not grade average, just average marks, average 50s, 60s. Oh, okay, cool. As long as I'm passing, life's good. Why am I stressing? Why am I trying to do too much? You know, at the end of the day, I just wanted to get good grades in drama because I knew that at the time I wanted to be a professional football, soccer player, whatever you call it, right? So that was the main goal. But backup was acting. to be honest with you, but I was equally good at both. No, I was more naturally talented within the creative arts than playing soccer. I had more. If you were to gauge on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Because within sports or within soccer, they have what you call like a football brain, and if we were to call, like, it's not like a thing, but like a drama brain or a creative brain. I rank a lot higher naturally, like natural talent ranks higher creatively than on the soccer side. So yeah, it made me feel some type of way, because when I took my gap year, oh man, I felt like this weight was off my shoulders, man. But moving forward, getting into uni, man, it was something else. I don't wanna I don't wanna lie to you, man. I don't wanna lie to you. In uni, I said to myself, you know what? I'm studying something that I was actually good at, and I will do whatever it takes to see if I can cook and if I can pass, And I did. My marks were great. I mean, I have a degree. Funny enough, I forget, But what I can tell you is that when it comes to pressure, right? And I know Dumi and I have always said, well, I think I quote this the most, but this quote by Samuel Eto'o, which says, you only feel pressure when you know what you're doing. Sometimes you know what you're doing, but the environmental pressure is just like really hard. And I don't want to lie. Life is hard. Especially if you're trying to do something. If you're trying to do something great, it's not easy. It's not kind. It's not comforting. It's not, we always say this thing when people try to do like a madness at a place that's, like, if you go to school and people, there's always those guys that are trying to do too much. Like, bro, this is not your mother's house. And that's tough. Your workplace is not your mom's house. It's not your dad's house. It's not your bedroom. You can be comfortable at home. But once you step outside, once you leave the gate, it's war. And how does one navigate through that? It varies from person to person. That's where a good friend group comes in. If you're a person of faith, you've got to take care of your spiritual as well, your spiritual aspects and good habits. Well, you can go pretty far with just those 3 points that I've mentioned. But the impacts of pressure, positively, some people say that, no, I just work better under pressure. I just work better under pressure. And some people crumble, And for me, what I have to say to you guys is that you need to find your threshold, right? You need to find what that level is. When the pressure is like here, once you start knocking here, you know that, okay, cool. You need to tone it down. I need to be able to tone it down. You need to know what your threshold is. But now you're probably asking yourself, how else do I know what my threshold is? Try things. Try things and fail. Try things and fail. Try things and fail. That's how I found what my threshold is. I took on so many tasks to find a point where I can be like, okay, I'm doing too much. I need to say no when these things are amounting, right? And sometimes, if you like me, I used to be a serious people pleaser. Not as much. I used to have a hard time saying no. Until I was like, until I was drowning. I was like overwhelmed. Because now I've said yes to this person. I don't want to sell them short. I've overcommitted. It's too late to go back on my word. And sometimes life can be like that. When you want to sneeze, but okay, it wasn't a sneeze in this case. It's for the gas. Maybe it's the tea. Anyways, moving on. You need to be able to find your threshold. Because once you find that, like I said, it'll be a lot easier for you to say no and just manage your stress. If if you want to go anywhere in life, a balanced life will be hard to pursue. A balanced life will be hard to maintain. In fact, with what I've seen in my life is that you somewhat find a balance in the unbalance, is what I personally have come to terms with. And I know that sounds very sad. Well, I hope it doesn't sound as sad as it may seem. But it gets to a point where your schedule is so busy and you make time for yourself, right? And it looks different for everyone. Maybe time for yourself could be time in the shower or just time alone, right? And you're off your phone. You're not even reading a book. You're just staring at the ceiling, or you're in deep thought, you know? And that's completely fine. It's different for all of us. But we all need that time. So if you want to not crumble under the pressure, you must always be honest with yourself. I think that's the first thing that I would say. First step is just be honest with yourself. Can you do this? Yes or no? Yes, yeah, you can be like, you know what, let's find out. Cool, I get that. I really get that. I am someone like that, right? But there comes a point in your life where you have to say yes or no. And you have to be able to live with the consequences of your actions. No harsh feelings. That's just what it is. So yeah. I mean, for me, there's times where people think that I always have it under control. No, I don't. There's days, weeks, sometimes months where I don't know what the next day is going to entail. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what to expect, like what the outcome will be. If anything, I just do a great job at getting through it. Not necessarily a great job in knowing, you know, because yeah, I'm under pressure, but you're really just hungry. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, are you under pressure? Or are you hungry? Or you just need water? Or you just need some sleep, right? So for me, I've really been able to manage a lot of pressure. And this is practical. It's just sleep. Focus on my sleep. I mean, the last 2 weeks, I'm not going to lie, they've been a mess. They've been horrendous. But the last like 2.5 months, my sleep has been great, right? The start of the year was a bit shaky. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I gained nothing from lying. But sleep is good. Take care of yourself. Take care of your brain. Sleep is good. Okay, cool. So I think it's a good time to get into the quote of the week. All right. And shout out to our guy, Randy. This week is quite this quote of the week. It's quite jam-packed. All right. Cool. So here's the quote of the week. Pressure just English, man. Let's rewind. Okay, all right. Here is the quote of the week. Pressure doesn't just create diamonds. It also creates fractures. Under constant strain, our mental health can break down, revealing the importance of balance and resilience in facing life's challenges. Pressure doesn't just create diamonds. It also creates fractures. Now, I've never necessarily fractured anything. Maybe some ligament damage here and there, dislocated something here and there. But that's such a real statement, man. And sometimes if you go too hard for too long, because sometimes you'll be under pressure and you'll be fine. But then there comes that pressure where it's a bit too hard. If you stay there for a bit too long, if you stay in that toxic relationship for a bit too long, if you keep doing that habit for a bit too long, you're going to fracture something in the process. So I want you to sit down and ask yourself this question. What is it in my life that if I stay too long doing, I'll get fractured? I'll get a fracture. And then you also need, on the flip side, You also need to ask yourself, what is going on in my life that is creating diamonds? And I think that's where I'm going to end it. It's a lot to think about, eh? What in your life has the potential to create fractures? And what in your life right now is creating diamonds? And if you can differentiate the two, that got deep, man. If you can differentiate the two, man, you'll be a lot better off, eh? Yeah. Let me sip some tea, man. Wow. But thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you found this valuable. If you do, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Let's have some discourse in the comment section there. And I will see you guys in the next episode. And I hope you guys have a progressive week. Stay progressing. And always remember, any small percent greater than 0 is better than 0%.